Welcome into the Chiefs Report. I am your host, Harrison Graham. As always, today's video, your trade ideas, me breaking them down. Appreciate everyone who submitted their trade proposals. If you want to send me more trade ideas, do it down in the comment section. We might get to some of them on next week's mailbag. Let's go to Football Talks trade idea. Richard Sherman to the Chiefs for a 2021 second and a 2021 fourth round pick. Now, Richard Sherman getting a little bit older, but still really, really good. Now, of course, Sammy Watkins, our boy, torched him in the biggest play of the Super Bowl last year. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. We can put things aside when we're talking about Richard Sherman. Sammy Watkins, he ain't a sorry-ass receiver like Michael Crabtree. I'll tell you that right now. Sherman's always been one of the elite, though, right? Like, keeping it real, certainly the Achilles injury from a couple of years ago is a bit of a red flag. He's older now, but he was still really productive last year. 3 interceptions, and to be fair, and you guys have asked about a lot of cornerbacks on today's video, so we'll get to some more here in a minute, but the Chiefs could use a corner. Bashaud Breeland suspended 4 games. Alex Brown, one of your depth corners, out for the season with the torn ACL. Really, Charvarius Ward's your only really experienced player, and Rashad Fenton's got some experience, not a lot after that, though. It's pretty thin at the cornerback position. Now, maybe Tyrann Mathieu does some of that for you, especially at the nickel spot, but this team could certainly use another outside corner. So I'm going to ask you guys a favor. Easiest way you guys can support the show is to like this video, and if you think the Chiefs should add a cornerback, whether it's via trade or just sign one, give us a thumbs up, because I just showed you guys, Chiefs are thin at corner. They need a cornerback, so give us a like on this video. Let's get 300 likes on today's show. Keaton Ward's trade idea, another cornerback, by the way. We got a third one coming up, too, so stay tuned. Jalen Ramsey to the Chiefs for a 2021 first and a 2021 third-round pick. Now, that is certainly a lot of draft capital, Keaton, but Jalen Ramsey is a top 3, top 5 corner in the National Football League. Now, things were kind of weird last year. He didn't want to be in Jacksonville, so he kind of forced his way out. The Rams end up trading for him. But he's a free agent after this year, and the Rams may not have enough money to keep him long-term. So could the Chiefs trade for him and, have him as a rental this year and then probably let him go because they probably won't be able to pay him either? That's a lot to give up for a 1-year deal. First and a third to have Ramsey just for this year, that's a little too rich for me. Now, if the Chiefs could find a way to keep him long-term, that's a different story, but you can't pay everybody. Brett Veach is a genius, but he can't pay everyone. Like, he managed to pay everyone this year. You can't add another $20 million player on future years, and that's how much Jalen Ramsey is going to cost for the Kansas City Chiefs or any other team. But I'll ask you guys this question, and it'll be the pinned comment on today's video. Would you trade a first-round pick for Jalen Ramsey? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Go ahead and let me know what you would do. Last corner trade here is from Cortez Williams. How about bringing back Marcus Peters for a 2021 third and a 2021 fourth round pick? Now, if you remember, Peters, and he still has a lot of this in him, he's a little bit out of control, right? Like, has a lot of attitude. He can cause some friction in locker rooms. He's a heck of a player, and he's a high-risk, high-reward corner, a guy who takes chances, jumps routes, does get burned a decent amount, but he was really good last year. 5 picks, 3 touchdowns in total. I thought he picked up his game a lot once Baltimore traded for him for the second half of last season, and I knew he was really good with the Chiefs. I forgot he was this productive. Do you guys remember him having 8 interceptions and 26 pass breakups as a rookie in 2015? I remember him being awesome. I don't remember him being that awesome. Like, I forgot how good this guy was. His production slipped a little bit, but he was still a 6 interception, 20 pass breakup guy in 2016 and still had 5 picks in 2017. Like, the guy is a flat-out playmaker, and for a third and a fourth round pick, I could be interested in this, especially since he's going to be cheaper than these other 2 options. Now, I'm not saying I would necessarily do it, and I definitely don't think Baltimore is going to trade Peters to Kansas City. That's probably the most important thing when talking about him. But these are obviously 3 of the better corners in the National Football League. It'd be nice for the Chiefs to have a true number 1 corner, but I don't think they're really going to be able to make a move for one of these guys. But if you could pick any of these guys to have for this year, who would it be? Would you type RS for Richard Sherman? Would you want Jalen Ramsey? If so, type JR. How about Marcus Peters? Type MP. Let me know, which corner would you like to have for the 2020 season? Now, if you can't decide on that, I hope you can decide on this, because we have a ton of Chiefs jerseys available at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. A lot of these are as low as $79.99. Now, the Pat Mahomes one, it's $99.99. It's full price right now, but still that $100 price tag, cheaper than any deal you're going to find on the internet. You can get Tyreek Hill's for $80 right now. I believe Travis Kelce's is still under $80 as well. So a lot of different jerseys. A lot of them are on sale, the high-quality Nike Legend jerseys. Not going to find these anywhere else at a better price. Go to that link. It'll be in the comments and in the description, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Byron Westbrook, not to confuse with Brian Westbrook. I hope you his brother, Byron? Let me know. Appreciate you sending in your trade idea. Matt Judon for a 2021 second and a 2021 sixth-round pick. There's been a lot of rumors around Matt Judon this offseason about what the Ravens are going to do. He's under the franchise tag, obviously. So, actually, the Chiefs could trade for him because they got a deal done with Chris Jones, obviously. I was just thinking that you can't have two tagged players, but they got the Jones deal done. So technically they could trade for Judon. Here's the problem, though. With all of these, money. And especially with Judon being under the franchise tag, the Chiefs have less than $11 million in cap space, and his tag hit is like, I want to say $15-16 million, and you can't negotiate a contract until next offseason for all tagged players. And since the Chiefs are under $11 million in cap space, unless they move some contracts around, they can't really make this work. Really good player, but he's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker than a 4-3 defensive end, so not exactly the ideal scheme fit either. Now, we hope we are the best Chiefs channel on YouTube. That's what we're striving for. We can only get there with your help. Hit that subscribe button. We do Chiefs mailbags just like this, whether it's trades or just regular questions where you guys submit them and I answer them. We get you caught up on the latest Chiefs news and rumors. Do all kinds of videos. We'll hand out some grades during the regular season after every single Chiefs game. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. That way you don't miss anything here on the Chiefs Report. Another edge question about Yannick Ngakoue, this one coming from loyal viewer Devin Nutter. How about a second-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars edge? That feels like the range it's starting to get close to. I know Jacksonville would like to get a first-round pick, but I don't think they're getting that at this point. Maybe at the trade deadline they will, but I don't think they will before the season starts. The problem is twofold, right? One, if the Jags are going to settle for a second-round pick, they're not going to settle for a late second-round pick, and that's where the Chiefs are going to be drafting. And two, on the Chiefs side of things, you've already paid Frank Clark and Chris Jones on this defensive line. If you trade for Yannick Ngakoue, you have to eat his tag money this year, and which is, I think it's like 17, 18, 19 million, whatever it is, and you're going to have to sign him to a 4-year, $80+ million contract extension. You're not paying a third defensive lineman number one edge rusher money. It just doesn't make sense. You've already got Frank Clark out there, Chris Jones on the inside, more on him in a second. I don't think trading for Yannick Ngakoue makes that much sense. But pick an edge. Who would you rather have? Type MJ for Matthew Judon. Type YN for Yannick Ngakoue. Go ahead, cast your votes in the comments section. I teased Chris Jones. This is an interesting one coming from Luke Higginson. TJ Watt for Chris Jones straight up says he likes the idea of having Frank Clark and Watt coming off the edge. Now, that's very exciting, but I prefer to have a good edge guy and a good interior pass rusher, which is what the Chiefs have in Clark and Chris Jones. Now, you compare Clark and Watt side by side. If you had them on the same defensive line coming off the edge, that's a really good 1-2 punch at defensive end, and TJ Watt is a hell of a player, and if I'm being unbiased, he's probably better than Frank Clark. Now, kind of like Matt Judon, he's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, but I think TJ Watt could play in any scheme and be a badass. He is just that good of a player. 36 quarterback hits last year. I mean, Jesus, like that is a ton. But I think Frank Clark's going to bounce back this year. Him and Chris Jones, one of the better 1-2 punches in the NFL. And I would rather have Jones and Clark than I would have Clark and TJ Watt, because then you got the inside punch with Chris Jones, the outside punch with Frank Clark. I think Alex Okafor is a solid number 2 defensive end. You got a heavy rotation. I think the Chiefs are just fine with what they have on their defensive line. Now, before we sign off, I want to remind you real quick about Chiefs jerseys. This Mahomes one is $100, but most of these are $79.99 at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. That link is in the comments. It's in the description. You click on it, boom, gets to the website. You can pick your favorite Chiefs jersey. These deals don't last forever, so take advantage today at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Get yourself some new gear for the 2020 NFL season. I am out. Appreciate every one of you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you think the Chiefs need a cornerback. And we'll see you next time.